Then let's move on to staffing. Kendall Squires, who was a former chancellor of the cathedral and a founding member of the LLC, has moved to North Carolina and as such has asked to not continue his role in the LLC as exactly as it was before. So we have decided to make him or ask him to be, and he has agreed, a manager emeritus, so we can get access to his experience and legal expertise as we go forward. And we have asked, and she had agreed, and the chapter has elected Betsy Monsell, our treasurer, to take Kendall's place. And that will then make the team, she will join Dean Petty, Jim Greer, Mark Buster, and me as a manager of the LLC. So welcome, Betsy, and we're looking forward to your contributions. I'll keep going here too. Jack Lenz, who many of you have known, was as the former Dean's Warden, was also a founding manager of the LLC. And he was instrumental in formation and actually holding together and making this organization operate well. We knew after his passing in 2018 that we would want to do something for him. And with the help of Annex Brands, which is Jack's company, St. Paul Senior Services, and the Cathedral, we've placed a bench behind the Redwood Bridge building in his honor, he and Marty's honor, his wife's honor. That bench is facing the soon to be planted, I hope, grove of trees that we've gotten agreed in Balboa Park to replace the trees, more than replace the trees that were lost to our construction. So that the bench is in place and the trees hopefully are on their way. Now I'll switch back to Tom, and then if you'll come back to me, I'll close it out.
Very good. Hopefully you can see now the rendering of the 525 Olive building from, this is a view from the park.
Yes. And
here are just some quick specifications. The building's 204 apartments and 20 floors. It includes 70 parking spaces for the cathedral, as well as our office, programming, and retail space, which I'll show in a bit more detail in the next couple of slides. It includes a large shared courtyard that's shared between the cathedral and the residents of 525 Olive. And it includes 18 on-site affordable housing units. Construction's going quite well, and the project is expected to be complete in February of 22. Here are a few progress photographs from our webcam. This is one, in fact, that I showed last year at the annual meeting, where construction had just begun and the site was being excavated for the parking garage. This is a kind of a cool image taken with our drone a few months later when the excavation was at the very bottom and they had just started the concrete pour for the mat slab foundation for the building, which you can see in the middle of the picture. Here's a photograph yesterday from the webcam. So they've gone the whole way down with the hole, filled it back up with a parking garage, and now are proceeding up, and they poured the 8th floor slab on Friday. It's going to continue at a rate of about a floor per week until they get up to the 20th floor and then the roof. And soon they'll begin commencing on the exterior skin and all the interior improvements as well. So again, moving forward towards a February 22 completion. The cathedral's program space takes up about 16,000 square feet on the ground floor, which you're seeing here, and on the second floor. One audible that the LLC and chapter called last year, once it came obvious that we really had more space than the cathedral needs currently, and the project is also very expensive. So the idea popped up to take the ground floor west, which you see in green and blue on the left side of the screen, and create some leasable space that will generate revenue for the cathedral. So that's the current plan. It's space is being marketed by Urban Property Group, and we're expecting to have at least one, perhaps two tenants in that space. So that should be very advantageous to the cathedral. The purple area on this ground floor represents the new guild hall. Lots of beautiful meeting space to replace the guild hall. And then on the second floor, this is the administrative office area. I mentioned the courtyard earlier. Here's a rendering from the landscaping plans that shows the courtyard. It's not showing on this image, which is a bit dated, but we're going to replicate the labyrinth pattern from the Great Hall in the circular area in the bottom of the courtyard. So that's the space, again, 16,000 square feet, including 4,500 square feet of retail space. The permit application for the tenant improvements for the cathedral space is in process with the city. And we have agreed with Greystar to construct the tenant improvements in conjunction with the rest of their work. And we hope to move in at the same time as the building is completed in February. That's the end of my report. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Mm-hmm.
Robert.
Yeah. Do we have any idea how much the rents are going to be for those apartments, particularly for the low income rentals?
I do not know that answer.
Okay.
The affordable housing units will be administered through the San Diego Housing Commission.
Yeah. And who will actually rent out and vet the people moving in there?
The Housing Commission.
Okay.
If you have a question, I can't see most of the tiles, so you'll need to unmute and speak up.
Hello, this is Frank Borick. I just had one quick question, and that was, is the construction schedule ahead or behind of what was originally planned?
I believe they're about a week and a half ahead of their original schedule.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Miracle.
Anything else?
Yes, are we owning the first and second floor things, or are we going to be eventually paying any rent?
It will be owned by the LLC as a condominium unit.
And we will pay housing, normal fees, common area maintenance.
And is that part of what that I can't remember what that figure was 9 million or something, or is that partly for that, or what was, I didn't understand in your report, there was some reference.
Yes, that's where the money would have to come from.
Okay.
And this is Pat Crater. What are the amenities that are going to be in that building? Do you know?
It's going to be highly amenitized, Pat. They're going to have a rooftop a pool area. They're going to have fitness room. They're going to have Zoom rooms. It's going to be a lovely building.
Excellent. Thank you.
And all amenities will be available to all tenants, regardless of income level.
That's correct.
And Ken, this is Justin Lewis from Chapter. I believe the fees that the cathedral will be paying, the common fees, are those fixed or set at a certain rate? I believe they're not. I think we got a good deal on that, correct?
Yes, thanks very much to Tom and our legal friend, Bob Francis. That was negotiated at a fixed fee. Right, Tom?
It's a capped fee, yes, and I'm sure we'll be right at the cap, which is $3,500 per month. But there actually is some arithmetic based on the size of the spaces, the cathedral space relative to the rest of the building. But it's a maximum of $3,500 per month.
And Tom, it's Pat again. Is it true? What are the sizes of the units? Are they 1, 2, and 3 bedroom?
Yes.
And studio.
And
And
studio.
studio, yeah.
I have a question. We were talking in choir the other day about access after choir practice of various things. Are the buildings actually going to be connected at all, or it will only be through the courtyard?
There's not a physical connection between the cathedral and the 525 Olive building, no.
Thank you.
Tom, if you went down into the parking lot, you could walk from one elevator to the other, couldn't you?
Yes.
But that's a little bit of circuitous, right?
It's it would
Take
be.
a look at the last note in the campus redevelopment project agenda. This time next year, where will we be? We'll be moving in. So
Yeah,
we'll all look forward to that.
thank you very much, Ken and Tom.
Very good, thank you.
This long-standing project coming to fruition. It's very exciting.
Is the pool open air?
Is the pool open air? I think it will be open air.
Yes,
On-
it's on the
It's got
roof.
it's got a lid over it, but not walls.
Right.
All right, on to our
I
next.
have a question.
Yes.
In this complex, will there be a night watchman on the property, and who's responsible for that?
I do believe that Gray Star, I don't know if they'll have a security person full-time. I'm sure that they will. I'm sure that they will.
Will that be an asset for the cathedral property too?
I would think the more security presence there is, the better for us.
Yes, I mean, to the extent that the cathedral, the courtyard is a shared asset, the garage is shared. So, I would imagine that the security guard would come out of the common area budget and would something that would be covered by our $3,500 contribution.
Thank you.
Is there any possibility that there's going to be senior services for people within the building, since we also have a senior, St. Paul's is known for their senior service administering?
No, remember, St. Paul Senior Services is a separate organization. There won't be any, unless they choose to rent some of the space, the retail space.
But could you have a night watchman there, would they have the ability to contact St. Paul's? Because most of these people are going to would seek St. Paul's services, or seniors would. I mean, I know that probably hasn't been thought of, but that's just.
The market rate apartments are going to, I mean, they're not limited to seniors.
No, I know that, but
Yeah.
mostly seniors have the ability to afford the luxury apartments.
True. I think we can't probably predict that at this stage.
No.
Okay. So now I want to turn to honoring our outgoing chapter members, those who are completing their terms. And I'm sorry that I think John Will already left for the drive-by celebration of Adele Moore's 90th birthday. But I did want to start with John. He was elected last year to complete an unfinished term. And I'm so grateful for his quiet wisdom and the invaluable work that he continues to do as our cathedral archivist. I hope I'll see John back on chapter for a full term someday. And meanwhile, if you read his report in the annual report packet, which is on the annual meeting page of the website, he's looking for an assistant archivist or two. So please consider if you might have some interest in helping him sort out the treasures of our 150-year history. And thank you, John. Claudia Dixon. I wonder, can we spotlight people? Is that possible when I mention them? You brought your passion for our less fortunate neighbors to your chapter ministry, and I'm very grateful for your willingness to continue in a leadership capacity as convener of the group that's currently assessing the possibility of converting the Chapel Undercroft to an outreach center. And thank you, Claudia. There she is. Way. Jerry Motto. I know I saw Jerry there. You have been an exemplary chapter member in your energy and willingness to participate in all kinds of activities, including the thankless task of organizing our chapter minutes into notebooks. And I know Kathleen very much appreciates that help. Oh, there he is in the dark. It says James Wright, but that's actually Jerry Motto. And that work of organization will continue after the pandemic is past. Jerry, you've been a wonderful people's warden under very difficult circumstances. And thank you. Clemente Guarneros, who may only be here on phone. you have a gift for bringing us back to our reason for existing with your comments at chapter meetings on faith and spirituality. And maybe you'll be re-elected at the end, by the end of this meeting, but whether or not you are, you have contributed significantly to our corporate life. And I very much appreciate your leadership with our Spanish-speaking parishioners, and thank you. And now we go on to the Dean's remarks. Well, this, as I mentioned, is a historic first as we do this meeting virtually. Our report packet, let's see, are we switching from the spotlight? I don't know. The report packet tells you all about 2020, and I hope that you'll look at that. There were many new things that happened, many creative adaptations, amazing witness to our ability to pivot and reinvent and flourish under very difficult and different circumstances from anything we'd ever done before. I want to offer a special thank you to our circles of love, leaders and callers. They did crucial ministry to hold us together, and they are now winding up that the formal part of that ministry. But I know that that the calls and the friendships and all the positive effects of that effort are going to be felt for years to come. And now, what are our plans to love Christ, serve others, and welcome all for 2021? The crystal ball is extremely foggy, more so than ever, as we move into a new phase of this pandemic, with the vaccine being administered, that's the good news, and the new variants of the virus spreading, which is the not so good news. One prominent public health expert has shared with our diocesan clergy that in the best possible case, and this is if everything goes perfectly and everybody behaves themselves, we cannot expect to be back in church as we were in January 2020, anytime earlier than December of 2021. So for now, we continue to improve and refine our use of online tools. I cannot even express how grateful I am for the gift of the audiovisual system that we installed nearly 4 years ago, thanks to a generous parishioner. Without it, our ability to provide spiritual nurture in this time it would have been severely diminished. Think about the 10:30 and 5 o'clock services. While we continue to operate solely online, our regathering task force, mandated by the bishop, continues to meet every other week. And we are developing a plan for what the Sunday schedule might look like when the time comes for us to open our doors, with a focus on continuing the online ministry, while also restoring as much in-person ministry as we can without overburdening our staff and ministry leaders. Another priority for our planning is to make the most of this time to prepare our buildings for multiple uses so that they'll support our mission. This is the work of two task forces, the Revenue Task Force and the Chancel Task Force. I created the Revenue Task Force to develop a marketing plan for making our beautiful spaces maximally available to the wider community once gathering is permitted. This will bring in additional revenue to support our ministry. The task force consists of parishioners who are professionals in the areas of sales and marketing and event production, and Kathleen Burgess is the chair. I'm grateful to them all. I pulled together the Chancel Task Force in response to a really extraordinary offer from a generous donor who said, "I'd like to buy chairs for the nave, but only if we can also remodel the chancel floor." This task force includes liturgical leaders and chapter members, and it's working with architects from Domus Studio, which is very local, it's about 3 blocks from the cathedral, and with our wonderful project manager, Tom Delaney, to develop detailed plans and budget and timeline for a comprehensive reimagining of our chancel, the area that's behind the altar rail, where the choir and the clergy sit, to make it flexible and fully accessible. The selection and purchase of suitable chairs to replace the pews is a parallel effort overseen by this task force. The flexibility afforded by these changes will also play into the work of the Revenue Task Force. Alongside our own facility, of course, we are, as you heard, watching the rise of 525 Olive, the 20-story building that will share our block and give us all that additional square footage of ministry, and potential new parishioners in the shape of the residents of those 204 apartments. The Revenue Task Force is including the new and expanded guild room in its marketing plan. And as Tom said, we can expect to move into our new space early next year. Once again, we are planning for Ash Wednesday and for Lent. This year, at least we know what to expect. And we're ready with plans for parishioners to pick up blessed ashes or have them delivered and participate in online services. Can you believe it's been almost a full year since we gathered in the cathedral? As if a pandemic weren't enough, last year we were confronted with a nationwide reckoning around systemic racism. St. Paul's rose brilliantly to this challenge with a Lenten series followed by a broad commitment to the Sacred Ground curriculum. As we approach the end of Sacred Ground, we are looking at what comes next, because this is an effort we cannot and must not drop, with so much energy already invested. The Episcopal Church has created a sort of follow-up program which seeks to tackle both the continuing work of dismantling racism and the epidemic of toxic political division. It's called From Many, One, Conversations Across Difference. Stay tuned for further details on this. One thing I'm very interested in is finding a congregation that leans conservative and is willing to have conversations with us. If you have a personal connection with such a congregation, I would love to hear from you. And in this time of Zoom, they don't even have to be local. The circumstances we've lived with since last March have made it exceedingly difficult to develop the long-term strategic plan we were hoping to do last year. We are in a unique situation, and the most important qualities for us now are hope and adaptability. I'm looking at a planning technique called scenario planning, which aims to lay out the different possible paths ahead and to create a general approach for each without getting too specific. This seems like the best way forward for now. Having said that, we still have the big dreams for the future that we had a year ago. First, to provide adequate housing for our music program, particularly since the old choir room that had no windows, no ventilation, is no longer appropriate for the post-pandemic era. Our music ministry is, as you all know, one of our shining stars. We have an incredible tradition, unmatched on the West Coast, of the classic Anglican evensong. And not only does our music enrich the lives of people all over the region, but it also forms a very significant portion of our youth ministry. Our youth choir program is an extraordinary offering that helps develop young brains as well as a sense of community spirit. I hope we'll find the resources to create a hospitable music suite that can be used by our own 5 choirs, but also by outside groups, broadening our reach to the community and providing a self-contained space for rehearsal, library, vesting, and offices, which are currently distributed inconveniently over 4 different floors. The second big dream is that of building a self-contained center to serve our unsheltered neighbors. The undercroft of our chapel lends itself to this use, in part because it's accessible from Nutmeg Street, which will avoid unnecessary tension with the residents of the new apartment building. It's a complicated space with multiple levels, but it has potential, with the current choir vesting rooms and bathrooms providing the infrastructure for permanent showers. We can also render the space fully accessible with the installation of an exterior lift on the wall facing what we used to call the clergy parking lot, which will be the only outdoor space that we'll actually own on the east side of the campus. While our agreement with Greystar allows us certain activities in the shared courtyard, the scope is limited. Therefore, it's important that once we regain use of the clergy parking lot, we are very intentional about making it a multi-purpose space. There are other needed improvements and additions, including the purchase of suitable furniture and appliances for the new building, our space in the new building, and a bathroom on the 3rd floor of the Great Hall to compensate for the loss of the old bathrooms that were in the administration building. Remember, the proceeds of the land sale that Ken talked about have created a cushion of capital from which we can draw income for operating expenses. But if we eat into that capital for these projects, we will be reducing our operating capacity going forward. So we're launching an effort to discern if the resources exist within the congregation to bring these dreams to fruition. I'm very grateful to Rockette Ewell, chapter member, for stepping forward to lead this effort, and to Claudia Dixon, Mark Lester, Elizabeth Carey, and Brad Lovelace for each taking on one piece of it. And with that, I'm going to turn over the microphone for a few minutes to chapter member Rocky Ewell.
Thank you, Dean Penny. In the coming months, St. Paul's will launch a capital campaign. Grounded in our mission to love Christ, serve others, and welcome all, this campaign will allow us to expand our outreach in service to our unsheltered neighbors and the broader community, amplify our much heralded music ministry with thoughtfully designed and dedicated space, and underwrite a litany of upgrades, fixes, and refurbishments throughout our campus, as we maintain a welcoming and constant presence in this place well into the future. Now, some of you are probably asking, didn't we just complete the sale of property that's funding new space for our church offices? And didn't that sale also generate funding to support our ongoing operations? And the answer is yes, we did, and yes, it does. So why a capital campaign? This campaign focuses on important capital improvements that are not currently funded through the proceeds of the sale or included within our annual operating budget. For example, when our church office relocates, the vacated space presents a unique opportunity for adaptation and reuse for ministry, as does the adjacent space currently used for storage. In addition, we need furnishings for the new church offices, as well as a means to address a priority list of site enhancements which will transform our campus, increasing function, safety, and usability. As Winston Churchill said, we shape our buildings, thereafter they shape us. We are at the very beginning of our journey in shaping this campus. In the next couple of weeks, we will finalize selection of a campaign consultant whose expertise will inform and guide our efforts, as well as help us secure a successful outcome. Many of you, as Dean Penny mentioned, are already hard at work reimagining our spaces. Over the next few months, there will be opportunities for all of us to join in helping shape the future vision for this campus and how we grow our mission together. Thank you.
Thank you, Rocky. I'm so excited to see where this new adventure takes us. And now I guess we should have a drum roll if we could have sound effects, but we just have to imagine the drum roll because it's time for the chapter election. Well, there we go. Thank you. Time to announce the results of the chapter election. Now, the election results are in this envelope, which is sealed. I have not opened it. It was delivered to me by the judges on Friday. So, feels like the Oscars. Remember, we had 6 outstanding candidates this year, and we were electing 4 people. Okay. Okay, our 4 new chapter members. It doesn't say here how many votes the ballots were cast, but I know it was over 125, so well within our quorum. The 4 people who've been elected to chapter are Darian De Lorenzo, Kimberly Fernandez, Gladys Jimenez, and Wanda Parata. Congratulations to you all. And thank you so much to Clemente Guarneros for being willing to stand for a second term. That was really going above and beyond. And to Maureen McNulty as a very new parishioner who was willing to step out there too. Congratulations to both of you as well for being part of this. Well, I'm excited about this chapter. Don't forget, chapter, we have a short meeting directly following this one. You're going to exit from this one and go into the other one. And we will be looking at electing officers. The next item on the agenda is for me to name the Dean's Warden. This year, with it being such an unusual situation, I discerned that stability is a good virtue for us to have. And I'm very happy to say that Donna Perdue has accepted my invitation to serve as Dean's Warden for a second year. Thank you, Donna.
Welcome. It's an honor. Thank you.
And oops, finally, there we go. Finally, we come to the Robinson Cross. I know this is what keeps people at the meeting. That's why we do it at the end. This year, 2 people will receive the Robinson Cross. The first person who will receive it is someone who always sits near the front of the church for worship when we're in the church, always smiling, always positive, totally committed to stewardship of time, talent, and treasure. This is someone who has contributed generously to special events, who has delivered this year food, mystery boxes, women together meals, and poinsettias. This person is level-headed, mission-minded, kind, and straightforward. This person takes a leadership role on the Finance Committee and the Endowment Committee, always has a smile, exudes positivity, which we need around the offices sometimes, is a mentor to many and a friend to all. She was recently appointed as a manager of Nutmeg and Olive. You know who it is now, right? As Cathedral Treasurer during this difficult time, she kept us informed, ensured good practices, led by example, was calm and steady, and helped us navigate the unclear waters of the COVID-19 crisis right from the beginning. She reviewed the books, guided us on financial decisions, ensured our stability so that we could continue to pay the staff for the emergency phase of the stay-at-home orders and beyond. All the work and the cleanup that she's been responsible for in the last several years have borne fruit in this crisis. Jeff, I think you could switch the spotlight now. Our solid accounting team and transparency in our reporting made it easy for Chapter to make generous decisions regarding pay for staff. For her leadership in calm and turbulent times, I'm honored for Craig to present the Robinson Cross to Betsy Monsell. Put it on, please. Hooray for Betsy. Congratulations.
Yay, Betsy.
Yay.
Hey, Betsy.
I'm stunned. Thank you so much. That's really special.
You've joined us, Betsy. We're a distinguished group.
I'm just verklempt.
That's okay. I'll move on to the second one and let you recover. Our second honoree has a slightly different cathedral profile from Betsy. While the effect of Betsy's ministry has been felt principally, though not exclusively, in the finance and accounting areas, this person has participated in a broad variety of cathedral ministries over the course of an entire lifetime as a parishioner. This person has consistently sung in both the youth and adult choirs, serves as an acolyte and a lector, is a member of the Altar Guild with a particular ministry of sewing and embroidering baptismal towels, serves as a godly play leader, Sunday school teacher, and youth mentor, and particularly over the last year, has been a key support to Maya in our youth program. This person is courageous in her witness about her life and the challenges she has faced and the grace she has received. This person gives of her loving heart through the Stephen ministry and has nourished her faith through EFM. Jeff, you could do the spotlight if you can. I recently heard her say, when I taught school, I always tried to look for Christ in each of the kids. For a lifetime of faithful service, her example of Christian witness, I am pleased to award the Robinson Cross to Joanna Earhart with Oliver's help and, I believe, Don Kemmerer's help. I saw some hands.
Oliver, help her.
Debbie's helping.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Now, of course, you both know this doesn't let you off the hook of ministry.
Oh.
You've just got some more work.
Father Robinson. Okay.
If you, on you.
Oh, no, I'm muted.
There we are.
Thank
And
you.
Betsy, have you got yours on? We can't. We can only see your neck.
If you can wait a second.
Yeah, it says Debbie on the tile, but it's actually Joanna Earhart. And you've just gone mute, Joanna.
Okay. Here's me with Father Robinson.
Oh, wow.
Move it over, Joanna. We can
Yeah,
only see.
you're behind him, right?
Yes, there you are.
Yes, there we are. Oh, look at that.
Aw.
Oh my God, thank you. Holy moly, I'll get to wear it with my vestment like Melinda did.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Wow, wowie.
And so now I ask, is there any other business for this annual meeting? And hearing none, I will declare this annual meeting of the Congregation of St. Paul's Cathedral adjourned. Thank you all for being here. All newly elected and continuing chapter members, please find your way to our chapter meeting Zoom immediately. God bless everyone and see you on Zoom soon.
Thank you, Penny.
Thank you, Penny.
Oh, wow. Oh my God, you know what, I'll tell you the truth.
Thank you.
I kind of wondered.
Feel free to borrow my tiara anytime there.
Oh my heavens. I kind of wondered because I was thinking, why would you guys be coming over? Oh my.